Echo, Echo, Azrak. Echo, Echo, Zamalak. Echo, Echo, Aradia. Echo, Echo, Carnanos.
Lama, Akabama, Aurelius, Kai, Akabama, Lama, Bakaros, Carolines, Salavos, Aurelius,
Lama,
Ame, Aurelius,
Saba,
Et, Famulus, Carolines.
Welcome to Bazaar. I'm Brian Flora. We want to take you on a magical, mystical journey back in time. Back before today's sequin-encrusted magical performers, even before the cap and bell-garbed mountebanks. Back to a time when magician, physician, and priest were all one and the same. Back to the arcane days of the mage, a time when man's spirit was filled with wonder and power. Back to magic. And who better to take us on this journey than Tony Andruzzi, performer, inventor, builder, artist, illustrator, author, and editor of The New Invocation, a publication devoted to the weird and bizarre presentation of magic. So now, if your last will and testament is in order, turn down the lights, get a good grip on the arms of your chair, and prepare to meet Masculine Ye Mage.
You may summarize from what you've just heard that this might become rather grim. And for some of you, it may, because I'm not going to perform a card trick. What I hope to do is to show you a magic that makes magic magic. What I mean is to show you what a little imagination and thinking can do for even the simplest effect to make it memorable. Memorable theater for your audience. Not just a parade of conjuring conundrums. Oh, no, that is not to denigrate the magical performer in any way. Just as there is classical music and popular music, both are demanding art forms, and there's a demand for both. There are many venues where bizarre magic may be performed, and many personas that the performer may assume to present a believable miracle. You could portray yourself as an innocent victim of some weird situation. Or you could be the Van Helsing type, a savant of the occult. Or even the mysterious practitioner of the arcane. But be yourself, not someone you are not, but perhaps just something you are not. Don't be too theatrical. Let the mood of the effect be primary. For instance, let me show you this little artifact that I picked up on a trip to Scotland just recently when I was scouting around in the Highlands, and I came across a cairn or a pile of rocks out on the moors. And I found this little handcrafted nail, a beautiful example of an ancient craft. And when I got back to the lodge, I inquired about that cairn, and I was told that this was a place where old Goody Nan had been burnt at the stake for being a witch. And this nail was probably one that was used to nail her hands to the stake. A rather bizarre way of confining her. But today, if you hold this nail between your fingers and concentrate on it, you can almost see a miasma of evilness rising from it, and smell a burning flesh. Here, you hold it. But perhaps it was just imagination. John, have you ever had your cards read?
No.
Oh, we'll try it today. But we'll try it my way. Rather bizarre. Because here I have a deck of tarot. For centuries, men have been trying to prove or disprove the efficacy of the psi factor. I won't do anything quite that mundane. What I'm going to try to do is take you back to the genesis of all this, back to the beginning, back to the time of the schools of mysticism that existed eons ago, before our modern epistemologists turned their back on magic out of a fear spawned by ignorance, or even ignorance spawned by fear. Back to the times when magic was real. Remember one thing. What man knows, he calls science. What he has yet to learn, he calls magic. Both are real. Don't think this is witchcraft or black magic. It's not. Just a psychodynamic experiment to see if all of this wisdom of those sages back then were valid. And I ask you one thing, Jen. Your cooperation, because the elements with which we will be working are fragile and unpredictable, and any sudden outburst could, if not be dangerous, at least detrimental to the proceedings. So let us try to fulfill your karmic possibilities here with this deck of cards. Just to make it easy, let us take some of these cards and find, oh yes, just the major arcana. There. And I want you, just very arbitrarily, pick one that happens to look a little pretty to you. You feel a predilection to touch. Look them over. Sort through them. Jan, I want it to be your card. Here. Fine. That is your destiny, then. Take the rest and put them aside. The Empress, the Queen card. And your card is a place someplace in the deck. So, and now we shall do obeisance to the god, the Sago. I conjure thee, the Sago, keeper of yet to be, hear my call and obey me. By those of Sandor and those of old, there is a future here to unfold. I command thee, comport among us, so mote it be. Look, the hand of Sago doth move amongst the cards. And he has indicated your cards. Here we have the Chariot. A very fortunate trip is in your future. You are contemplating perhaps a change, a new venue. And behold, the ace of clubs. It shall be very beneficial for you. You have been thinking about this for some time. And the third card, it is but Visago's way of addressing you, the Empress. The rite is ended. Greetings, companions. I'm delighted to tell you of a new arrival in the Mage's oubliette. A recent shipment from the digs at Cardor has just arrived, and it is proclaimed to be none other than the hoofprint of Pazuzu. I've inspected it, and unfortunately, in transit, the dirt was disturbed. In this tray is nothing other than the dirt on which, at one time, eons back, the feared god, Pazuzu, had trod. Unfortunately, there is no physical evidence that we can see. But fortunately, I do have here a scroll that proclaims to have an incantation would conjure back, briefly, but for a moment perhaps, Pazuzu. Let us try. Indenerat sedem erbekara aman batu akar aberine semet and netor. Yes, I'm sure this is it. Watch. More. Habit. Ekebe. Hava. Also. Oh no. Oh my God. Yes. 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 Pazuzu. Damn you back to the pit of fire and flame from which I came. So be it. The rite is ended. It's wonderful. Can you believe that? What's going on? We should have some, maybe.
You need some salt on the apple.
No, I think we ought to put the apple back in the ground.
Yes.
Dutty, it's so wonderful having you.
It's good.
And Mary. I've waited so long to meet both of you. And after some of my travels, I've always said, golly, I wish the blood of Dusty was on to share my trips. And I had something that I think would really interest the both of you. Was when I was in Egypt, I was just off the Valley of the Kings, and they had a valley there where every stone, every piece was bigraved with the strangest hieroglyphics you ever saw in your life. And many of them are still not translated. And I even took a small shard that I have here somewhere. Oh, yeah. Away, because I knew you were going to be here, and I thought it would be a wonderful piece for your collection. And you see all of these very strange pieces of hieroglyphics and that are bigraved on this piece of obsidian. And the thing that I think that this actually came from the altar of Hathor. Oh. The god or goddess, I'm not sure which, who always provides great riches for those who do obeisance to the goddess Hathor. And I want it to be yours. But before I give it to you, I'd like very much just to try it out tonight because the moon has gone down. And we'll put it here so I can read the inscriptions. I'm not sure that I'm translating them right. And I have here in my pocket something I picked up at the museum in Cairo, which is an old mummy winding. I'm sure you recognize this kind of material. And we'll just put it down here like this. Well, we'll get it back nearly like it was. And we'll put it there. Unfortunately, Hathor demands a sacrifice. And I wouldn't really ask that of either of even you. and since I have a sufficient amount of it coursing through my veins, and it's my test, let me try it out. I was prepared, if you don't mind. A straight edge razor. A common instrument in Chicago. And a forearm. Should be enough for Hathor. Just a drop or two. Oh, mistress, Morfuck, I, your savant, doth claim his due. Reward me. Command me. Marthac. And Mary, look. A ruby. A perfect ruby. And I want you to have it. Here. Hold this and think of all the wealth you have. What's the matter?
I felt something.
You felt something?
Yes.
Ah. She was not a believer. There's nothing but the sands of the Nile. A small reminder that those that believe can be rewarded. Dusty, better luck.
Oh, thank you. I'll have to learn. Wonderful.
Thank you. Hawthorne.
Skull.
Jan, it is so very kind of you to have this party and everything and invite me. I appreciate it so much.
Well, we're so glad you were able to make it tonight.
Oh, you're such a charming hostess. And I noticed from your house that you've done extensive traveling in Germany and France and everywhere, England. And have you ever been to Haiti?
No.
Strange place. As a matter of fact, recently I was there, and I discovered something that I didn't know about their voodoo and voodoo, as they call it down there. And you know about the sympathetic magic of sticking pins into a puppet or a little effigy of people.
I've heard something about it, yes.
Scare you? Well, what I discovered was, let me put this out for a moment, is that they had, if you were a mage or a person with the power, the puppet is all very good, but the most dangerous thing is to ever let them have the outline or the imprint of your hand, your right hand, the hand of your future, because with that they can conjure. Let me show you something here. Do you mind if I move all this?
No, oh no.
Huh?
This makes it very...
Oh, I got ashes everywhere, haven't I? But, may I just pour that over there for a second? Do you ever let the outline of your right hand to fall into the grasp of a nefarious conjurer or witch? It's the worst thing in the world. And I'm sure you're not one of those. But let's play a little game. Let's play, perhaps, that you are a conjurer, and I am going to be your victim. Just for tonight.
Okay.
All right. It's going to be hard for you, I know. But I want you just to mentally select one of those fingers. Not one of these, but one of those.
Okay.
Have you done it?
Yes.
Splendid. Let me just put it on the plate here. And with this cigarette, I want you to burn me. Not me. One of those, the fingertip that you thought about.
Okay.
All right? And I'm going to give you this cigarette as your wand of power. And I want you, I'm taking a chance here, to just burn the fingertip of the finger that you thought of. Will you do that?
Okay.
Hate me, hate me, hate me, hate me. Oh, that's good enough. Have you done that?
Yes. Look. Oh my goodness.
And you know what is strange? If I hold my hand, and on my little finger, look at that blister. You evil child, you.
Oh, Tony, how did you do that?
But fortunately, I know another incantation. Shining on you. Oh, sweet. It's gone. You're a beautiful witch, lady.
That's amazing.
Now, Richard, I guess we come to the real work, right?
That's wonderful, yes.
You want to know?
Yes, I want to know it all, please.
Well, let's start with the nail.
Yes, good.
First of all, it's not necessary to have a little box. I think it adds a little bit. And I was very lucky early on to find a distributor of designer nails.
You can buy these?
You could. I've lost contact with the source, but it was a handcrafted nail. Now, I understand that some of these fairs, they have blacksmiths that do make handcrafted nails, and they might be available there. If you can't find a distributor, and if you can't find the fair, you can use a nail that is not too clearly evident in use. It's a masonry nail.
So I can get those at a hardware supplier?
Usually anywhere. And so even looking around a place possibly where something had been destroyed, you might find some of these for nothing. So the main thing is to have a unique looking nail. Then find someone who has headaches or a small tin like this, and it should be metallic. And what you do, you bend this little edge in so that it's easy to open in your pocket.
I see, yes.
Preferably without the little pills in it too. And then the chemical. And the chemical you'll find on a book of matches back here. And it's best to use a striking surface that has not been utilized.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So you have a virgin piece of strip there. And then you throw all of that away. And you have this. And then you must peel the back edge.
So you've got as much of the lighting surface as possible, but as little as the backing.
Precisely. Because you don't need the carbon from the paper. You just want to heat the phosphorus.
Okay.
And I usually crimp it slightly like this.
Lengthwise.
To tent it,
yes,
as I say. And as you see, this has been used before. And then you can burn it.
I see.
It's a little hard without the scratching surface, so we'll use modern mechanics to light a match. And you just...
And it burns better with a match rather than...
I think it does, because it's... you see, it burns out from there.
Yes.
And you don't really have to leave that match on there as long as you're getting this very noxious fume coming out. You know it's doing what it should be doing. And that really is one reason why in the patter I say you can almost smell the burning flesh, because what you're literally doing,
It's giving them burning flesh.
this is burning a cutaneous epidermis very minutely off your fingers. And that's what's causing the smoke.
Is it hard to do other effects after this? Because of that?
No, not really. A quick wipe on the pants, trousers, or even, I'm not opposed to getting a napkin and,
Yes.
and wiping my hands. It does leave a little odor on there. Now, you do not use what you've burned here. You literally get rid of that little burnt strip.
Yes.
But there's a residue that's left in there. Now, you can do this in a glass ashtray like this. But if you do, Richard, the main thing is let it cool.
I see. Yes.
Because if it's hot and there's the least bit of perspiration on your fingertip and you touch it in there, it will ignite. I prefer to do it this way, and then I can judge underneath whether it's hot or cold.
Ready.
Now, when you're working with a nail, either one, I'll use this one. This is over here, and the nail is being inspected,
yes, yes.
and you surreptitiously get a quantity of that on the fingertip. Now,
Can you do that before you start the effect? Or
I'd rather not.
No,
I'd rather after I started the effect, because
While I'm
all the
looking at
attention
this.
is here, and you're looking at giving them eye contact, and you have plenty of time to reach over in a
just
pocket
get-
and just casually get
That's
a bit
about
of
the
this.
right amount.
Now, the thing is, do not be afraid of getting that much on your fingertip. I've had a couple people say, well, I've tried it and it just doesn't do it. What they have tried to do is get a minimal amount on there. So the important thing is to get that on the finger, and that is concealed
Yes, yes.
quite naturally as you put it in the hand like this. Then as you start rubbing, literally what you're doing, Richard, is actually rubbing the thumb
And the second finger.
and the second finger together, and you obtain
The smoke.
a smoke. And it is surprisingly copious. I think
It is.
even at
It's
this
quite,
distance.
It's quite amazing, isn't it?
So all you're doing is holding that there and you're rubbing that.
Yes.
Be careful not to get any of that on the nail, because hold out your hand as you did before. I'm going to pretend it's hot
Yeah.
and drop it in your hand. So if there's any of that on there and they rub it, they'll get smoked too. So you really don't.
Yes, no, you don't want that.
And that
Yes.
is the coffin nail.
And your hands are reasonably clean even now, aren't
Reasonably clean. A little smelly, and you notice I just simply rest like that. Oh, maybe leave a little something. Hopefully you don't, not doing. This is intended for a one-time close-up
Yes.
kind of spooky miracle.
Yes. And you need the story to add a little bit of body.
Use your own. I mean, make it natural. Make it not necessarily the Highlands where I was, but if you've been in France,
Somewhere
or,
where you've been. And,
make it
and a little story.
relative.
Yes. Well, when you prepare this, can you prepare it several hours beforehand?
Oh yes, this is very good for 4-5 hours carried close in your pocket.
Yes.
But don't do what Eugene Berger did and hand me one of these a year old and expect me to. By the way, I must give Eugene sort of a subliminal credit for nailing her hands to the post. It sounds so much like Eugene. He's a great
Yes,
friend of mine.
yes, yes. Lovely line too. It's good. Gets the goosebumps going. Yes. And when you put the
The little when you strip this off,
yes,
the dark side of the matches, and I don't have one right now here. Oh, here we go. The dark side should be down
yes,
when you tint it or
Yes.
crimp it.
you crimp it so
longitudinally.
the dark side's inside. Yes.
So you burn it down like
That
that.
way.
And the crimp allows the air to get under so that it burns.
Yes.
And it's the phosphorus residue.
Yes, which
They
of course
put
you get lands on the bottom.
So there you are.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we come to the sago,
Good.
which is the use of the tarot deck on a spread that's laid out.
Yes, yes.
And you handle the cards freely over this. You notice this has a metallic finish. And under candlelight, you can get away with murder.
Yes.
So I take the cards out, and I handle them quite freely. And I say, look, let us simply use some of the major arcana and I sort through a few of them. And you notice I even pick a few up from the top to look. And then, voila, because they're all together right here,
Yes, yes.
I find the majority of them. And immediately put these back haphazardly.
I see.
In other words, you play down
The deck.
the dirty work that is here. And now you ask the lady, and I love to do this with a lady, to find one there. You notice there is no death card, and there is no devil card, because I don't want these people to find
Yes,
a thing like
get
that.
a bad one.
And l'imprise is usually what one would take, unless you know your French, or the fool, or the lovers. There's so many that you can have there. Vindictive wife might say le jugement. But so they choose one.
Yes. Okay.
For you, I'll give you the lovers.
Oh, that'd be nice. Thank you.
All right. And you put these again on the deck and apparently handle the deck very freely over the thing.
Yes.
Now, in doing that, first of all, this is a gimmick deck. There's a thread
Yes,
running through that goes up to here, you see.
So it's more
actually
than half,
a
is it?
spooky deck. Yes, it's a little bit more than half. And in this bottom half, if you pull on the thread, are the cards that are going to be the fortune.
Yes.
You see, there you have your chariot and the ace of clubs. These are put in on opposite sides, and the thread accommodating it, thus. The rest of these on top. I might say an interesting thing with tarot cards, and of course the thread comes out through the center here. It may be a little difficult for you.
What sort of thread do you use? Is it,
I'm glad you asked.
it's not really invisible thread, is it?
Yes, it is
Oh, it is invisible.
a commercial invisible
I
thread,
see, yes.
which is very strong
Yes.
and is a colorless plastic thread. And you get this at your Notions.
Sewing shops.
sewing
Yes,
shops.
yes.
So that's an interesting thing on this is also available at hardware stores, a little bottle about this large of Teflon powder. And I spray these with Teflon powder rather than
all the cards.
zinc stearate.
Yes.
And now they move quite easily because, you see, you're working with a very heavy deck.
Yes, you are.
72. So that extra Teflon. Now you notice the invisible thread comes down here and in through a hole there. Underneath the cloth, you can see, is a continuation of the thread
Yes.
and just a little bent pin. Now, when I come out, they are in this,
Yes.
which disarms the people. They are in this,
Yes.
which disarms the people.
Yes.
And this little piece of thread is hooked there so that I can cover it with
Yes.
my thumb,
Yes, you can carry it naturally.
naturally. And I just simply, as I pop it down, I take the thread and drop it over the back of the table, open this out so the back edge is over the table, and situate it like this. Now, this material is a plastic that I got in a fabric shop that has a sort of a felt on the back. I think ladies make their fake leather skirts or something out of this material. And it's very soft, very pliable. And I've simply taken a dinner plate with a gold marking pen and made a circle with a lot of gibberish things with, as a matter of fact, this is the symbol for Visago, in case you run into an absolute
Yes.
occultist at the other side of the table. And you notice the thread comes out of the case, up and over into there.
Into there.
But be careful that you don't make it hop like that. But you have freedom
Yes.
to reach in, take out your deck, freely lay it down anywhere, preferably right on top of the
Yes.
spot to conceal as much of the thread. Toss this over, and in your handling, be free with the cards. Pick them up, go through them, show them. Now, actually, the thread is running from here down through there, but you won't see that. You see all of this. It looks very real, natural. You put it down, pick off a few, find your major arcana, have a card selected, put it back, and square it up. Now, as you put it back and square it up, surreptitiously, or secretly, you find the little pin and you put it preferably on the side of your trousers, just about here,
Yes.
and be sure it is below the tabletop.
Yes.
So you're not going to get a thing where it's going to go like that. Now, you're hooked. So you bring up the tension as much as you can, and you bring the cards over to the side, like so, to get enough room for this card to go in as you're talking, and you can cover it by pointing to the card. So you're covering the thread as you point to the card, and you ask for it, and you break here, and that card, unlike the other two that went in from the side,
This goes in from
then goes in from the end, and now you must try as much as possible to align the hole here with the hole there so that the deck doesn't suddenly move
Yes,
somewhere
that's
else. So now, again, it should look natural. Now, originally, the spooky deck was done with an ordinary deck of
That's
cards.
right. Yes, I was going to ask you why tarot card.
Well, they didn't think where the original deck originated from. I guess the current deck originated from. It originated from the tarot, as you know, or well know, and the suits, the cups, and the clubs or the batons became the clubs. The spades were derived from the swords, and so on, right? So it's all very good if you're going to do a card trick, but in Bizarre you do not do tricks.
No, so that's
You
one reason
do
why I
miracles.
use these.
And this adds to the allure of the antiquity of the thing. Now, I had done it this way for years, and suddenly it occurred to me that the man sitting in the back couldn't see it. And just strangely enough, I said, how can he see it? I'll light it. Now, as I say, I usually do this with a candle, and it's very weird to see this deck move around, but the man in the back cannot. So how can he see it? Well, I have a very lightweight little
very light.
holder. Actually, this is for a votive candle, really. It's not a candle holder. You can use a small wooden one that you can find in novelty shops, and a little stub of candle. And I just simply put this in there and set that on top and light it. Now, if he cannot see the deck, he can certainly see that candle moving back and forth.
You also have another candle, don't you?
I have one
the
for
whole thing's
general
candle.
illumination. But this is just as in obeisance to
Yes.
Visago, as you see. And I perform it standing, of course, with the hookup, to be sure, to be below the height of the table, because you don't want any back movement here. So now, in doing obeisance to Visago, I slowly move sideways, not back, but sideways as I look at it, and the thread is taut. And now, simply by moving this one leg, apparently more comfortably, I can animate the deck as you see here. And the candle goes forward, and now I step back in surprise, getting more on the thread, and the thing comes back, and over here, and over there, and back. And there you have your three cards. Divine. So
Very pretty.
now, usually, or sometimes, these will be face up. But I really like them to be face down because I can take this out and say, perhaps a journey that will be fortunate to you, bring you wealth, and perhaps the Ace of Clubs, which means perhaps a new beginning. And I'll pause for a moment, and they'll wonder what this card is. And I'll say, my dear friend, that is but Visago's address to you. That is the card you
Card you
took.
chose. Yes.
And thus, I've done a card trick. I found three cards
Three cards, yes.
from the one, given you a cold reading, and
Animated the deck.
animated the entire thing. Immediately upon finishing this, this goes away, this goes over there, you disengage, pick the whole thing up, leaving the pin
Yes.
inside the folds, and you're clear.
You'd need a pretty strong invisible thread, wouldn't you?
That's why
That's why you use this.
I
rather
use the
than,
commercial invisible thread. Now, I think there is an invisible thread that was put on the market a number of years ago, like an 18-foot, so you can do the spooky deck on the sidewalk, from a distance. I have never tried that, but perhaps it's strong enough. Under certain conditions, especially like this, with a black tablecloth and using this black, you might get away with just black thread. I like this because, as I say, any reflection off of this
Yes.
is reflected. They might attribute to the reflection off of this metallic kind of fabric.
Do people you're doing it for think it's regarded as being real? They don't assume you've done a card trick.
Oh, no, this is not a card trick.
They believe it.
Because I go into a longer cold reading with
them a little reading along with it.
And they're contemplating that before they ever really think that I've used cards at all.
Yes.
Tarot or regular.
Yes.
And
Very impressive.
it would be an abomination of desolation to do this trick with an ordinary deck. To paraphrase a well-known book, I think entitled The Bible. I surprise you that I know the Bible.
just a trifle, yes.
Fine. Now we come to the piece de resistance that I do often but few ever see, is the demon dirt. And this can be done without this piece of apparatus. I just wanted you to see the one that you saw me use. And you notice the screws are out on the edge so that I can take this off. This slides out, and you see I have all of this beautiful fireworks on the inside, which allows me to push the little button over here, and I have a glow plug here.
I see.
So that's the way it goes. And we screw this back in, and I will on occasion put a tag on here. It says Exhibit 1F375 to make it look like an archaeological. And put Samaria or something else on the side. And anyway, this is the archaeological tray that was sent to me. Now, in preparation for this, you need a smidgen of your fast burning. Now, I didn't realize until the other day they have a slow burning and a fast burning. You get the fast burning.
Yes.
And you tuck it down.
This is flesh wool.
Flesh wool, or flesh cotton, as we say here. Tuck it down so you get a good contact there. Then over that you place a little sheet of flesh paper that I have over here somewhere, because I just brought it. Like that.
I see. Why do you need that if you've got the flesh cotton?
The cotton burns too fast, and the flesh paper gives a slower burn. It helps ignite the gimmick, and the gimmick is that you use Pharaoh eggs or little pyrotechnical snake ash-producing things. Now,
these are readily available?
They're readily available at novelty shops and other areas. Even from magic dealers. D. Robbins, I think, has them in his catalog, and they're very, very cheap, except that you have to buy it in quantity.
Yes.
Let me open this, and I'll show you the preparation must go on. To use them whole, the little snakes would crawl horizontally.
Of course, yes.
So what you have to do, you do not pulverize them. You simply crack them into little shards like that. And you do this with about 20 of them, which means you're probably using 5 little boxes of these things.
There's no danger of them going off or anything?
Oh, no.
Whilst you're doing
None at all.
No.
But then now you make a nice heap of that, of them over here, so you get a nice pile.
How many do you use again?
I use maybe 9, 10, 12 of them cracked up like this. And they must all be fractured.
Yes.
Because if they remain cylindrical, then they don't work so well. Then you pour your dirt around on the tray. And for sake so you can see what's happening, I'm using a lighter dirt than I usually do. This goes all around on the tray. A dark dirt is fine because then it conceals this.
Of course.
So now you have your tray, and you can be rather cavalier about it by picking up the dirt and dropping it back. And, of course, you're not disturbing this area. Then you would go into the pattern that I went into.
Yes.
And in supplication, you're holding this up. I use an incantation off of a scroll like this, which is all Egyptian, except over here is
Your script.
Beloved of Amen, O Mistress of Nafat. It's written in English so that I can...
Save you the trouble of reading the Egyptian.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it's so long since I read Egyptian. But while you're doing that, then you press the button, igniting this, and as you saw, they will come up vertically because
Is that because you've chopped them up that they come up?
because they're chopped up and because I have them more or less in a cone shape. And they come up and they hit each other. They start to grow, and they're still burning, so they come up and out, and you get a beautiful little tree of fire and flame and tentacles and things like that, which immediately you say, Fiat, back to the pit of ash and flame from whence you came. And you push them down, and of course they go back into the pit of ash and flame from whence they came. And thus you have the demon dirt.
So again, it's basically a story, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
You've got a simple idea here, but you built the thing up.
All of Bizarre.
All proportion.
All Bizarre is a story. You're telling an impossible tale, and
But
showing
then you
them,
make it real.
you show them irrevocable proof that it is true. Let's go on with another stultiloquy of the mage, which is the Jewels of Hathor.
Oh, great.
And we had several pieces of paraphernalia for that. First of all, the wicked
Yes.
straight edge razor, which every self-respecting mage carries on his body.
Have you been arrested for carrying that?
No, because they're kind of disappointed if I do. A piece of bed sheeting that you've dropped in the teapot overnight and stained it to be a mummy winding.
Yes, yes.
A small little packet to put the jewel in later. But in this packet, you have previously put some sand, as you see, like so. And a piece of slate roofing.
Yes.
Ooh, get rid of that.
And how did you engrave that?
There are little devices on the market that sell
hand engravers.
hand engravers for $1 or $2 that you can use.
Yes.
And so, while those are fairly accurate representations of token runes, you can just put gibberish down there,
Of course,
you know.
Yes.
Or if you want, get a Book of the Dead by Budge and put Egyptian things down there. But usually something a little more esoteric is good, and have it irregular. And this is literally the misdirection.
Of course. Yes.
So now to set up, you have your cloth, and you press it pretty much so that it's very easy for it to go back into its pleated position, which is quite normal until you get to the top. But then at the top, there's a half.
Yes, I see.
Half.
Yes.
So under there, with a little magician's wax, you affix your jewel,
The jewel.
so that it'll hang there. Now, you have this cloth there, so you can pick it up like this and show it, and the jewel is concealed back here. So with much wending and waving, you get it back into this position. The jewel goes into that position, and you put a half
Half covered again.
on there.
Yes.
So now when you make your supplication to the goddess Hathor, all you do is simply flip, like that.
You don't even do that, do you? Aren't you holding it there and then waving your hand so it flips itself?
You can,
Yes.
and I think I did it last night. For the purist, just put one finger there, and as you come up,
Yes, flip
and
it.
you come down, and it's flipped. I'm sure I went right out of flame, but what you do is just simply like that, and it comes down like that, and it's kind of surprising to see. At this point, it's disengaged, and you put it into the little cloth packet. And in this packet is also a jumping quarter. You've seen those little
Yes.
cricket
I'm familiar
things,
with those, yes.
which you should have warm so that you can press it.
Oh, that's how she experiences the
And
action, of course.
right, and you put it on a metal tray
Yes.
or a dinner plate, and you hand it to her. Now it's there, and you pat her for a few seconds. The thing will go click, and it will surprise everyone. And you say, "Oh, but you're not a believer." Now through the cloth bag, you hold the jumping quarter and the jewel,
Yes.
and pour out the sands of the Nile that you got in the back alley somewhere. Now, that
Have you ever had people wanting to examine that afterwards?
never,
No.
never, because usually they're more intent on running me out of town than, than looking at the little bag. This, oddly enough, I came by at my barber's, and they are available at barber supply places. This has been modified slightly. What a barber does is no less deceptive than what we do. You see him go over and get what appears to be a straight edge. He goes behind you and he shaves your neck. But not with this. There's a little insert in here that he pushes out, and a razor blade comes out the end,
Is it so? Yes.
and I've taken it off this one.
Yes.
But it comes right out the end, and that's what he
And
shaves
that's
your
what
neck.
he shaves, yes.
Then he pulls it back in, and he goes back, and you say, "Oh, there, I've had a good old-fashioned neck shave." You haven't. So when I saw this, I said, I must have that, and I purloined it and modified it by taking the little slide tray out of there, which is very simple to do, so no razor blade comes out, and I'm left with a hollow
Yes.
blade that does have an opening along here.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it has one here and one here, which I wall up with a bit of magician's wax
Yes, that's what it looks like.
on
Yes.
both sides. Then, using fake blood, I steep it in there. If you want to, you can hold it a little bit this way and pour it in the end and then seal it up.
Yes.
Either one is easy.
Do you use a special brand of blood?
I do.
Blood?
I do. Now, I've experienced or experimented with practically every kind of fake blood there is, and they are all based with a vegetable dye, which leaves a stain on your
Yes.
skin. The only blood that I would ever recommend is Spangler's crystal blood,
Yes.
which is made like human blood. It's a red crystal in a serum, and it leaves absolutely no stain on your hand or arm or
Yes, or whatever. Yes.
other kinky place, you know, what? And when you wipe it away, it's like real blood. It does not leave a stain. So that is the kind of blood I really suggest.
That's
using.
readily available.
It is from him, and I think it's about $4 an ounce,
Yes.
which may sound a little bit high, but when you figure you're only using 2 or 3 drops at a time, it's
Yes.
very economical, and it's. Let me say, that particular blood I've used in the presence of doctors, surgeons, nurses, and people who should know better, and it's genuine.
Yes. Yes.
So that is, all
No,
Put them all together.
When do you get that ready?
right, now, this you get ready early on, and
2
there's,
hours beforehand?
6 hours if
Oh, I see,
necessary,
I see.
because it's good blood, and you don't have to worry too much. I wouldn't go 6 hours, really. I'd say a couple hours before you get to the gig. And there's a little trick with this. If you're wearing a coat, I have either a glass case or a comb case in my pocket, and you notice I have this edge up.
Yes.
So I close it like this, and I can place it inside my coat, and it rides
the right
edge
way
up. Now I can reach into my coat, apparently into my inside pocket, and take it out like that. And then when you open it edge up like that. And now, still keeping it edge up, you're ready to slash the wrist.
Yes. And it just comes out by gravity?
And it comes out by a little bit of
Yes.
inertia, but don't, as I
Don't overdo it.
have seen myself do, look like I'm going to cut the entire
Yes.
handle. Just a little there. Wait for a moment until the viscosity makes contact with your flesh, and
Can
it just
you actually feel that happen?
yes,
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know when to move.
and then you just pull it across, and it smears the blood across. And that literally is the working.
That's that. Yes.
It's mostly, as you know, story, pattern,
Yes.
and atmosphere. And now we come to a trick that really isn't mine. The adaptation is mine.
Yes.
It belonged to Joe White, Micro,
Yes.
the magician,
That's right.
the little wizard. And he came up with a thing in the pages of Invocation, which was sympathetic magic, and it was just so dynamite. I featured it a lot, and the beauty of it is, all you need to do this is a pen and
Napkin.
a napkin and a little something extra. Now, the something extra can be many different things that would suit you, I'm sure. One or the other would suit you. But as you remember in the patter, I say, remember about sticking pins into a puppet and sympathetic magic. And a magician, a mage, would never ever allow his hand,
Yes.
his right hand, the impression of his right hand to fall into the clutches of a nefarious wizard. Now, that's a little self-serving, I must admit, because I'm left-handed, and it's very hard for me to draw the outline of my left hand with my right hand. So that's the pattern I use, but you can switch it around. But you end up with this.
Yes.
Now, as you recall, in the pattern I say, I want you to just concentrate on any one of those fingertips.
Yes.
You notice I've left out the thumb.
Yes.
This kind of forces them into that.
Yeah.
Then I reinforce it by saying, not these, but those. And in saying not these, they see
Again,
that I do not have any blister on these fingers. But you don't say, hey, look, nothing there, right? You say, no, not these, but those, just those. Now, the absurdity of them concentrating on there and thinking they're going to fool me is stupid, because you put an ashtray under there.
Yes.
Again, you get the thumb way
Thumb
over
the
here,
other way.
so that the fingertips are there. Now, the reason they're there is so you don't burn your host's tablecloth, and you light up a cigarette for them. You get it going well, and you say, now, as the nefarious wizard, I want you to burn. Again, subliminally, you're showing your fingertips as you point. One of these fingertips that you were thinking of. Take it and burn it.
The fingertip.
The fingertip. And you do. That's good. That's good. Now, if you really believed in sympathetic magic, I would simply put my hand over it like that. Oh. And you see, you have raised a blister on my finger. Now, the absurdity of think of one of the fingertips it has nothing to do with it. And this, and then like
Yes,
that.
yes.
But then you say, but all I have to do is concentrate, and you press the blister. Because some of them will think it's a stuck-on little
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Press it against your forehead, and you're massaging your forehead. No, you're literally massaging your finger to bring down that impression. And there you have
It's
it.
gone.
Now, where did the impression come from? It came from the eye of my ring. I see which finger you're holding.
Yes.
If we were to burn that one, I would be sitting here
Like that.
with my little finger over the socket of the skull, pressing it down, and like that. Now, there's a nuance that I've discovered. If you immediately show that finger, you get a ring around your blister. Let me do it with this. You press down like that, you get a ring around your blister, which you wouldn't
you
want.
do.
So what you do, you exercise it a little bit to get rid of the ring. And now you have a very
You've got a real
credible
blister.
blister.
That's,
And then
that's good.
just massaging it. So don't be too much in a hurry to show that. It'll last. See, it's still there. And
Because I do a version of the blister trick, but I'm always inclined to show it immediately.
Give- no, give it a-
it's
give it a
interesting.
little-
Interesting.
give it a little exercise, and it gets rid of the
Yes.
ridge, and then that's it.